her presence was like making everything a little bit cooler than average than I usually feel downstairs. Hey folks, Ethan here, also known as the Valid Sense Aligner. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't seen me before, welcome back. If you guys are new to my channel, welcome. So today I got a very bizarre but a very fascinating story to share with you guys about. So I've channeled with the fairy queen goddess, or more specifically, the winter fairy queen goddess. Okay, so this is indeed very unique to me because I did not know much about her in the first place. All the way back in December, I believe me and my friend, we were talking about spirit orbs until she mentioned about speaking with the winter fairy queen goddess. So I was like, oh, I don't believe I ever heard of a goddess like that. So I was like, you know what? Let's try and do this unique case for fun and see how well it might go for me though. And around December 12th to 13th, I believe, that's when I started communicating with her. And surprisingly, the goddess actually got my message, and oh my gosh, this goddess was something else. So I'm surprised she actually got my message, like my calling, like right away. I was not expecting her to like get my presence that quickly. What actually happened was that when she manifested in my presence, which like right here, I was using a blindfold, more likely a sleeping mask, so to speak. So I was using that to kind of do my original channeling right there, and I could see or feel her within my mind and through my presence at the same time. And what I was feeling was that I was actually getting a bit chilly, but not too chilly as what you think I would be like shivering, like freezing up. It was not that crazy, but I did feel some cold energy around me. I was like, ooh, it's actually a little cooler than it should be in here, because this part in the basement's always a lot cooler than usual. But her presence was like making everything a little bit cooler than average than I usually feel downstairs. Anyway, so the moment I felt her, I was like, can I know your name, ma'am, or lady, whatever. So I did that, and somehow I actually got a name from this goddess. And I didn't think I was gonna get a name. I did not think I was. So you guys may be wondering, what's her name? What's the fairy queen goddess's name? Her name is Somalina. This name was very clear. This was not in my mind. Like, she put this name in my mind, like directly. Like, it just morphed within my mind. I was like, wow. I didn't think I was gonna get that. But that's her name. Which it's a very pretty name, I will admit that. So I think later on, I think over the weeks, so I think a couple days I was communicating with her more, and I was like, can I at least know your form? Like, I was trying to find a form that would represent her, and somehow I was like, I was using ChatGPT to see if I can let AI to do my, create a winter fairy queen goddess, create that for me. That's what I did in ChatGPT. So I did that, and somehow I found one image that was like, I'm not sure if this image is gonna work. So I asked Somalina, the went to Fairy Queen Goddess to see if this image was kind of close enough to her original appearance. And she told me, yes, this image that I've had on my monitor was very, very close. And she did tell me that that her feminine body form shape was indeed skinny, and which it was close enough. I was like, okay, I guess I can leave it at that. And what about the outfit? Does that matter too? And she told me, no, it doesn't really matter. But the form from the AI image was close enough to her original appearance. And I was like, well, thank you very much. I was grateful that she was able to tell me and validate that this was indeed very close to her original appearance. And surprisingly, what she told me was that she approved, she appraised me, like she offered a lot of praise to me because she approved the image that I've had on my monitor, which to me though, I was channeling, but I had my back facing towards the monitor so I couldn't see. I just wanted to make sure if I was on point with the image. But I thanked her a lot, and she really approved my efforts for trying to like represent her at least in some way. But she was very happy with what I did, and I did also kind of took a break from that and went back to channeling like the night before last, and somehow I was kind of questioning about her if she was a human being long ago. And you guys would be surprised, but she was a human being long ago. And you guys might be curious, how long ago are you saying? Like, how far was this when she was a human being? So I was a little surprised I managed to get this answer, and her timeline as a human being on this earth was 870,000 BC. I'm like, holy hell, I've never gone that far into history. I've never gone that far. The only times I've talked about history was far back in the 5,000 or 8,000 BC, but 870,000 BC? That's hella far back. Oh my gosh. And I also did ask her if she's also a mystic as well, and she told me yes, she is a mystic. If you guys don't know what that means, it's another word for a witch, which I don't like saying witch all the time because there's just been a lot of stigma about it, which I like to call witches more mystics, in my opinion at least. But she was a mystic in her own time period, in her own current life, back long ago. And she did practice witchcraft, and not only that, she was in a coven, which I don't know much about, but it's not necessary for me to know her personal life, which she doesn't have any problem with me going that far, but to me though, I don't believe it was necessary for me to learn about her coven or the time that she was a mystic long ago. Anyway, but the next piece I do want to talk about is that her power is unbelievably powerful. And I might sound exaggerating at this point, but there's no way to deny this. I actually felt her power before, and oh my gosh, her power is like almost I would say the same power as Metatron. And I have made a video about Metatron before, and you guys might be wondering, are you talking about Archangel Metatron? Which I am talking about him, but to any Christian folks out there that are learning about me for the first time, I found out that Metatron is not an archangel. He's not an archangel at all. He's a different angelic being, a different type. His divine status is much different than Archangel Michael. If you guys are curious about that, I'll leave a link down below if you guys are curious about him. I have made a video about that. Moving on, so I was like, is your power identical to Metatron? That's what I asked to Somalina, the Winter Fairy Queen Goddess. That's what I asked. And she said, yes, her power is identical to him. And she knows him very well too. Which I was like, holy hell, I cannot handle your power. Your power is way too much for me. And she said she was very sorry about that because she didn't want to overload my power by accident, which I was like, okay, I think we're going to need to call it a night here because I cannot handle this much power from you. But yeah, so there are times which I can handle her power, but there were moments where I could actually adapt my power into her own frequency, which I have done that before, and it somehow worked most of the time, but her power would still kind of overload my frequency because she is a queen goddess and she has a very powerful cosmic authority of her own status, which I truly admire her authority in the cosmos. She is indeed a queen commander of the fairies, so I was like, it doesn't really surprise me if you are a queen, which it would make sense, but she's not the only queen commander. Like there's I'm pretty sure there are other Winter Fairy Queen Goddesses that exist, which I did ask that before, and there are many others, but you guys may be wondering, how many are there? This is where it's gonna get disappointing, but I could not get this answer. Is because there's just too many. So I told her, or I asked her, there's just too many to count, so it's just not really worth counting. And she told me, yes, it's not really worth counting because there's so many other goddesses like me out there. So I was like, okay, it won't make sense why I can't count them, even though there are more like her on the other side. But yeah, she's not the only queen commander for the fairies, and she also does grant wishes for humanity. I believe she might have understood what I meant by that, which I'm talking about the new moon wishes. But I don't know if there are any other type of wishes besides the new moon. But I'm pretty sure that answered my question. Like, do you grant wishes to humanity that make wishes, which is, I'm referring to the new moon? And she told me yes, she grants them. So I know another goddess that does the same thing just like her, but I have actually talked about this goddess if you guys are wondering who I'm talking about. But anyway, that was quite a lot. And one last thing I do want to mention is the appearance that I mentioned before that I totally forgot to talk about, was that I asked her, are you an elf too? Because I can see an elf, like her ears, I can see the elf appearance. And she told me, yes, she's an elf. I'm like, wait, you're a fairy and an elf at the same time? And he said, yes. I'm like, elves do exist on the other side. And she told me, yes, there are many elf spirits in the cosmos. I'm like, oh my gosh. So, I have talked about a phoenix spirit before, and I didn't think elves would exist. So, you guys might be asking, how do elves exist when we know about the one movie that pretty much talks about elves? And I know what you guys are thinking, that about one movie that we all know today, and it's a famous trilogy movie that we all know. So, even though that's in the movies, but elves do exist on on the other side. And you guys remember wondering, what about dragons? Do they exist too? I'm gonna have to be real honest with you guys. They do exist, but I haven't even encountered one. But I have spoken to a friend about this, and she has encountered a dragon in her life on the other side. But that's for another topic, for another day, I would say. Anyway, but the truth is that Melina, the Winter Fairy Queen Goddess, her original form is a fairy, but she's not really like a hybrid, like not a part fairy and a part elf. She's just an original fairy, but she can transform into an elf if she wants to. Other fairies can do it too. But man, that's quite a lot I've given out. A lot more than I would imagine. Hopefully you guys found this very helpful, and I'm here to tell you guys that she's very loving though, and I'm pretty sure you guys can find other Winter Fairy Queen Goddesses which I have not met or channeled with, but maybe someday I will learn other names in the future. Overall, this was a very bizarre but a very fascinating channeling to deal with, and I'm hoping I can understand more about her life as a human being, maybe someday, but right now it's not really important to me, but I'm glad I got to know her, at least. Whew. Love light to all of you guys, and as always, stay strong out there. I'll see you guys next time.